This next guy, I think, if you're going to give a prize for coming the longest distance, Mike, I think you get it. A native of Ireland, he now resides in Los Angeles. Folks, he was only in third grade in 1963 up at St. Mary's Grade School when you guys made your great run. He would go on to the University of Notre Dame. A very talented guy, become a very good writer, director, producer, and a creative executive in the entertainment and also the internet for most of his career. He was one of the founding producers of the Disney Channel. That's pretty good, huh? He also has worked with most of the major film studios, including Disney, Pixar, and DreamWorks. Folks, he has written 4 books, including his most recent, GameChangers, Improvisation of Business in This Networked World. Folks, he knows he has worked with some of the most creative and talented people in the television and movie business. But he says none of them compare to you guys who comprise the 1963 Ireland Spuds, who will always be at the top of his heroes list. Would you please give a warm Evansville welcome to a guy who's come all the way from the City of Angels. Please welcome back Mike Bonifer. Michael.
Sounded more like an Ireland welcome to me, which is better. So this is fantastic for me to be back here because when I was growing up, I was in, I think, third grade when the Spuds made their run. And my third grade teacher was Henrietta Allen, whose husband was the assistant coach, Roy Allen, on the basketball team. And I sat right behind Pamela Sheeter, whose older brother Pat scored the winning basket to win the regional. And Pamela and I had been Joseph and Mary in the school play. So we were kind of an item in third grade. So when Pat scores the winning basket against the Washington Hatchets, sorry guys, but yeah, it happened. I got it going on in third grade. I'm Pamela Sheeter and Pat Sheeter, and I know everybody. And so I'm riding high after the regional win, sitting staring at the back of Pam Sheeter's neck in third grade, and we had a kid in third grade who had to go to the bathroom all the time, Alan Ware. 5, 6, 7 times a day, and this was the day that Mrs. Allen said, I've had enough. So Alan Ware raised his hand, he says, can I go to the bathroom? She says, okay, and then she picks the class pet, Eugene Hope, and she says, Eugene, I want you to follow him to the bathroom and tell me what goes on in there. So now the whole class is on pins and needles waiting to see what's going to happen. So here comes Alan Ware walking back into the class, not knowing anything went on, and everybody's like, whoa, wait till this unfolds. And here comes Eugene Hope. And she says to Eugene Hope, what did he do? And Eugene Hope said he stood on the radiator and looked out the window. And she goes, that's it? If anybody asks to go to the bathroom the rest of the day, no recess. Well, guess who had to go to the bathroom worse than he had ever had to go to the bathroom in his life? That day, yeah, me. So I'm sitting there and I'm going, oh, what am I going to do? The shame, you know, I got to save face. I'm friends with Pat Sheeter's little sister. This would be so embarrassing. So I come upon a strategy. I go, I'll let a little bit of the pressure off. I'll let a little bit of it. That did not work. The dam burst, and pretty soon I'm crying. I'm just bawling, and there's a giant puddle the size of the Patoka Lake Reservoir under my desk. And Pamela Sheeter turns around to say something nice to me, and I'm crying. She goes, what happened? I go, I peed in my pants. And that was the last day for Pamela Sheeter and me. Great shame. I'm sorry, Pat, if you're here. Ruined it. So it was hard living up to these heroes. And I remember a few years later, the band, when you got to be in 6th grade in Ireland, you were in the high school band, and we would march at halftime in our stocking feet and do formations. You know, I remember marching right down this aisle, and Debbie Broniker was the drum majorette, and we'd make formations, and we would practice right up here on the stage. And Ronnie Bellner was first chair trumpet. I was a trumpet player. He was my hero. And he got to come down, he got to lead band practice early and come down and shoot hoops while the band practiced. And to this day, that is the most excellent idea of how to shoot hoops that I've ever heard, is have a band playing while you're out there shooting hoops. And here would be Ronnie and Stan Summersheim, who played saxophone, and the two of them would be shooting, and the rest of us would be playing, you know, the Baby Elephant Walk and whatever, and they're down there shooting, and I go, oh, someday, someday. And so while I'm watching Ronnie Bellner as my hero, he makes a move in a basketball game. I remember the exact spot where it happened. He was guarding a guy from Winslow, and the guy had his back to the basket like this, and Ronnie Bellner stuck his foot through the guy's legs and knocked the ball away. And of course, illegal, but the coolest thing that I had ever seen a basketball player do is stick his leg through the dribbler's legs and kick the ball away. So we had a 6th grade game later that week, and all I wanted to do was stick my leg through a dribbler's leg. And so people would be running down the court and I'd be guarding them, and I would just be doing this the whole way down. I would just be trying to stick my leg out wherever I could to knock a ball away. And Richard Abel, who was the coach, told time out, and he goes, "What are you doing out there? What is wrong with you?" They were ready to send me to the doctor or something, like I was spazzing out on the court. So it's hard to live up to your heroes. And Bill Linetti, where's Bill? Bill's not here? I can't believe it. Bill Linetti would come down to our farm and work. He was our hired hand. And I wanted to live up to Bill Linetti's status as an Ireland Spud. So we were mucking out a stall and loading a manure spreader. And I'm bragging about how well I can drive a tractor, because I'm trying to live up to my hero, Bill Linetti. Sometimes Bill Linetti would let me and Mel, his brother, and Rick, his brother, wear his shoes, his high-top Converse. And you could swear that some kind of magic would happen when you were wearing those high-top Converse. So I'm trying to live up to Bill Linetti's status, and I'm bragging about how well I can drive a tractor. Drive it all the time. The old Alice Chalmers drive it all the time. So I'm bragging and carrying on, and finally Bill says, "We need to move the tractor up. Move the tractor up 3 feet. Could you get up there and move it up 3 feet?" Well, of course, I didn't know how to drive a tractor. But now I can't, you know, it's the same thing as Mrs. Allen's class. I can't back down. You know, it's hard to live up to your heroes. So I get up on this tractor, and I had never driven a tractor without instructions from an adult, and I'm up there and I'm looking at everything, and I go, well, if you turn the key on and hold down one of the pedals, I think that has something to do with it. So I turned this tractor on, and of course it just started up, and it just started running into the wall of the barn till the two front wheels were off the ground and running up into a stall, and I never forget the look on Bill's face. It's like, looked out and go, "What happened? What are you doing?" And so that was embarrassing to Bill. It was embarrassing to all of us. And I think over the years, maybe I have more or less learned to live up to my heroes. And it's been a lifelong journey, but as far as I've gone in life, the Spuds, as Mike said, are still way up there. And I just say that last memory, we would rode the Diddleberger bus, Harold Diddleberger's bus, with Dave Small and his brother Junior Small. People in LA don't believe there was a guy named Junior Small. And I go, no, really, it's like this big. But there was a guy named Junior Small. And so Dave was just fantastic. He would let us wear his baseball mitts sometimes, and I just remember he just put that mitt on, and really it was like pulling Excalibur out of the stone. It was really being in touch with something that was larger than yourself, and somebody that you had seen prove themselves in front of the entire community, in front of the entire state, with incredible grace and courage under pressure. And it was true for the entire team. Joe Lance and Ron Clem, who was tough as nails, and Stan, and Red Keish, of course, and Eck, who could keep anybody off the boards. And those were fantastic times. And I remember, last thing was, that bus was very noisy, a lot of rattles. The joints of that bus would just make a lot of noise, and Ronnie and Dougie Hilsman would be torturing grade school kids, so they were screaming. And when And when the sectional draw came, everybody on the bus had to shut up, and there was one little speaker about midway down the bus, and everybody had to be super quiet, and it seemed like even the bus quit making noise so that Dave could kneel on the seat halfway in the middle of the bus and listen to the announcers make the draw for the sectional. And you just look at somebody like that and you go, I'm just honored to be part of it, and I'm honored to be part of it still, and I thank you, and I thank you. It meant the world to me to be connected to this community and to the 63 Spuds, and God bless you all. Thanks so much.
Folks, he's in the right business, isn't he? The entertainment. Mike, take that on the road.